Alright, first we have to bring on the pretty host of the show. That's me, the one and only real Thor. Kinda. The Google Maps Anomaly Iceberg explained.
Literally just find the house.
I don't even know what this anomaly is.
This house used to not be blurred out, but it's blurred out now, probably to protect the privacy of the current homeowners. And so, like, overall, you know, that makes sense. On the other hand, here's an island north of the South China Sea that just has both sides of it blacked out. Not really sure what's going on here. I believe this island is known as Monbu Onsha. According to this article...
Sorry guys, but no playthrough for now. I'm just so disappointed in the gaming industry.
What the fuck? Oh my god, I can't wait to play the next 2D pixel rogueless Dark Souls, can't wait. And then the next one that comes out in a couple of months.
Technically that is a playthrough, but technically it's not a roguelike. It's more like a boss rush, so it's like... But you wouldn't know, because you only play one genre. Alright?
Fucking China put a scientific research base on this island to do aquaculture research. So there is some sort of Chinese settlement on this island. Whether or not you really believe China set up this base to do aquaculture research is up to you. I mean, this is the Chinese government.
What is the original iceberg?
This island is in an area of the South China Sea known as the Macclesfield Bank, and there's always been a dispute over whether China or Taiwan controls this area. So it kind of seems like China probably put up this research base more as a way to just get a foothold in this area, and so it all gets us to this point where there are a number of different reasons this island could have showed a picture or something. Spots on it. Maybe there's some sort of Chinese base on this island that Google wants to black out for some reason. Maybe Google is unsure as to whether this island belongs to China or Taiwan, so they just black it out to avoid a conflict or something. And also, I guess it could just be some sort of mapping glitch. I kind of doubt it because these black spots have been on this island for quite a while now, and if it really was a glitch, Google probably would have fixed it at this point. Another example of something being mysteriously censored out on Google Maps can be seen in this Russian town called Button. For a while, some of the houses in this town were scribbled out with some sort of white marking. This white scribbling is gone now, but that's weird. I mean, those scribbles were definitely put there on purpose, so make of that what you will.
Wait, Sebastian, Forsen, I told you to take today off too. What the hell are you doing?
Damn it, woman!
No!
In fact, while we're talking about asshole still hurts from last night. How many fucking times do I have to tell you only halfway? Fuck!
Iceberg military bases is probably just referring to how they're blurred out a lot of the time on Google Maps. So, for example, this airbase in Spain has its runways blurred out, and this airbase in France is just so low resolution you can't even really tell what's going on with it. Face in the clay. This entry on the iceberg is probably just referring to this thing in...
Oh, it's not an actual iceberg. I thought it was just...
It's this natural formation in the rock and clay there that from up above it looks like a face. North Korea. This entry, of course, is probably referring to just how North Korea has very limited...
I thought it was an iceberg in the background of the house in the middle of for no reason, and he was gonna explain it or something, and they censored the house because people were wondering why the fuck is there an iceberg or something in the fucking behind the house. That's what I thought.
Maps data. There is little to no information about businesses in North Korea. There is little to no street view data, and the few photospheres that you can access within North Korea that I'd imagine were put there by tourists give off such an eerie and isolated vibe. Roma's cat. So there's this place in Rome, Italy called Largo de Torri, Argentina, and at this point it's basically this cat sanctuary type thing. Initially this spot was built as more of like a historical Roman monument, but then a bunch of cats started moving in and now it's kind of just this cat sanctuary. For a while on Google Maps there was a photosphere there that when you viewed it you could just see this cat. Buffaloes. I'd imagine this is just referring to like buffaloes you can see on Google Maps. Two-legged cat. This entry is referring to this picture of a two-legged cat. This picture's been around for a while now and it's kind of a meme, I guess. I guess a lot of people were under the impression that this picture is from Google Maps, like it was a picture of a cat ripped off of Google Street View and it looks like that because of like some glitch or something, but it's actually just not. It's actually just a Photoshop picture of a cat. Fuck you roof. So there's this house in Mississippi that just says fuck you on the roof. There's not really a whole lot going on here. Pigeon people. So this is referring to this walking path in the Tokyo, Japan area where after you follow this walking path for a while, you'll just stumble across a bunch of pigeon people. If I had to make a guess as to what's going on here, there's this Musashino Art University pretty close by. So maybe some art students were just out doing some art stuff. Man falling downstairs. This next entry takes us to Hoboken, New Jersey.
Alright, how about you
where
go
if you look
to the
your left,
fucking
yeah,
bottom of the
19,
iceberg.
a
I'm watching 30
submerged
minutes of
car
this
was
shit.
spotted on Google Maps in a pond where William Moult used to live. Shortly after this car was spotted, they pulled this car out of this lake, and William Moult's skeleton was still inside. He crashed his car into the lake and then suffocated, and then he wasn't found until 22 years later. Teen murdered. In 2009, a 14-year-old...
We have no rain here in California. Everywhere where our life is on fire. 1,300 SQKM burned. Forsen, can you send us some water? We are getting on unlucky bad spawn. Generating God seed 0.
It is an unlucky spawn.
Never mind.
It is. And we have so much water and they have so little. But to be fair, it's pretty hot over here. We need it.
Was murdered in Richmond, California. There's this high crime residential area in Richmond, California that's sometimes called the Iron Triangle, and this was where he was murdered at. The reason this is on this iceberg is because Google Maps satellites managed to capture Jose Barrera's body being left by some train tracks. Of course, if you try and check this spot on Google Maps now, it's been updated and you can't find his body there anymore. Google received complaints from Jose Barrera's family. They wanted it to get removed, and it since has been. It was pretty ridiculous though, because you could see Jose Barrera laying there, and the picture
can you hear it properly? I can't hear.
Officers pull up to the scene. Children with guns. There are a couple different examples of children on Google Maps holding guns. An example being at this neighborhood in Chicago. You can see this. Based on the way people around him are reacting, it doesn't look like it's a real gun, but who knows. Another example you can find is a suburban area in South Africa where you can come up to these kids walking and one of them looks to be holding a gun. Is it a real gun? Probably not, but it's hard to say for sure. Injury cow. So there's this picture of a cow limping across the highway with an injury. As far as I can tell, there is no information on the internet where this actually took place at on Google Maps. 41 Marmol. Kinda just outside of Mexico City, there's a street called 41 Marmol, and if you look up at one of the houses, it looks like there's a guy hanging from the roof. When this was first discovered, a lot of people actually reported it to law enforcement, but it's actually just a puppet. The people living at this house have gone on record saying that it's a prank. New Baltimore ghost town. There's a town in the state of New York called New Baltimore. And prior to Google updating the data in 2016, the street view just had this weird ghostly effect to it. Everything was warped and there was a grainy effect on pretty much everything. New Baltimore is a small town in the state of New York with a population not much more than 3,000. As I've stated earlier, this phenomenon has been patched out of Google Maps, but there never really was much of an explanation for it. Malaysian plane. So earlier we talked about people finding planes on Google Maps, but this is one of the more interesting cases. So if you didn't already know, in March of 2014, Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 went missing on a flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. There were 227 passengers on board and 12 crew members. Until this day, no one really knows for sure what happened to this airplane. They're not sure if it was hijacked or if it was some sort of mechanical malfunction. They just lost communication with the flight and it disappeared along with everyone on board. They never found the black
Wait,
box.
what? Really?
In 2018,
no, I don't remember. It rings a bell. Wait, they never ever found the plane? Ever? Wait, is this lost in real life? They found some debris only. It must be at the bottom of the ocean, right? But I would assume that they have some fucking tracker on the plane, right? There must be something on the plane. What do you mean? They found the black box tracker, but it was too late.
unidentified plane was found in this Cambodian jungle.
They only have one tracker in the black box.
Theorize that this could be Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 was a Boeing 777, and this plane that's in this jungle seems to be a very similar length to that of a Boeing 777. Additionally, reports by the Malaysian Transport Ministry show that prior to losing contact with the plane, it was recorded to be in Cambodian airspace. The most common belief is that Malaysian Flight 370 on its way to Beijing somehow turned around and ended up crashing in the Indian Ocean, but the exact location of its crash site is still not confirmed at all. So some people think that this might be Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. Probably the biggest problem with this theory is that debris from the plane has reportedly been found in Tanzania and other places in Africa, which kind of puts a damper on this theory, because if the plane landed in this forest in Cambodia, there's really no way debris would have gone into the water and then washed across the Indian Ocean and then onto the coast of Africa. But I guess some people have a conspiracy against the Malaysian government, and they think that they planted debris in Tanzania to kind of close the case. The Malaysian government didn't want to admit that they couldn't find the plane, so they ended up planting debris in Tanzania. Even if this plane isn't Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, it's still a really weird thing. There's not really any reason that this should be out in the middle of this jungle. Not any reasons that I could really find, at least. The guy who originally found this on Google Maps is a man by the name of Ian Wilson. Apparently, he's actually tried to go on a trek out into the Cambodian jungle to get to this airplane and try and do an analysis on it and see where it's from.
What if it was flying?
But I guess on this trek he went on, it got so dangerous that he had to turn back. He says he's trying to go on another expedition out to this plane, so until anyone gets out there, we really have no idea what's going on with this plane. End of the world sign. This entry is referring to this highway road in the Mojave Desert. This highway just comes to an end in the middle of nowhere,
Mr.
and
Force.
there's a sign that just says end.
Pause the
It's pretty
video.
odd, and screenshots of how it used to look.
I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Oh, are you a racist?
No.
Oh my God. Oh, what the hell you have? What the dog? Oh, what the hell? Why? L. Oh. H.
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 Alright, are we done?
Are even more odd. Google has removed the street view data for when it looked like this, so you can't see this anymore. Now it just looks like this. Dogman. I'd say this is probably referring to one of two things. This could be referring to this Daily Star article from 2019 where they reported a post that was made. I think this Reddit post has since been deleted because I cannot find it. On this Reddit post that was apparently posted on r/cryptids, a guy by the name of The Lone Hunter attached a video of him on Google Street View, and he seemingly spots a dogman in the woods. This right here is what he thinks is the dogman, I think. There might be something there, but
this isn't
kind
shit,
of also
I
just
promise.
looks like a bunch of shadows. It looks pretty normal. On Google Maps, I was able to find the street that this picture was taken from, but I can't
Let's
find
hope
the
you're not a
exact
liar.
angle or spot
Also, no
where you
further
can see
links.
the
I
dogman
got a
thing. There's also
bunch.
the possibility that this entry is just not referring to this at all, too. This entry might not be actually referring to a dog man, but
I mean,
instead
all
it's
of these
referring to
last
one
ones
of
are
many
fucking
different
dog
funnies
shit.
on an island. Man jumps in Google's car. This entry kind of left me with the impression that there was going to be some story out there of someone breaking.
Why is the volume getting lower and lower? Further into the video. I swear to God, right? It's not me.
To a Google Street View car, although it doesn't really seem like anything like this has happened or at least been documented. This could be referring to this thing in Poland where you can see.
Is
a
it
guy
trolling or
on
what?
the Google Street View car. I know jumping on a car and in a car are different, but this is the closest thing to this entry that I think.
Look at the difference, alright? 25,
Basically,
30. Alright.
Let's get into it. Black spots. So it is not uncommon for Google to just black out or blur. In the state of Florianopolis, there's a section of streets that had some really weird properties for a while.
I swear, throughout this video, it decreases in volume.
You would be able to go into this black, dark void thing, and you could move around in it a little bit, and you could look at these weird.
Fuck you and your video. What the fuck?